Listen closely. Behind the cold static of the radio, you can hear it. The steady rhythm of a human heartbeat and the endless, exhausting hum of a carbon dioxide scrubber. Right now, in April 2026, 4 human beings are not on Earth. They are suspended over 248,000 miles away, hanging by an invisible thread in the absolute dark. It is the furthest distance that any biological creature has ever dared to venture in the history of our species. But do not let the cheering crowds or the polished logos fool you. They are not out there to conquer the stars. The Orion spacecraft, named Integrity, is nothing more than a fragile time capsule, a desperate, microscopic bubble of breathable air drifting through a massive cosmic graveyard. They are completely surrounded by the frozen ashes of dead asteroids and the silent, radioactive ruins of our early solar system. Out there, the clock does not just tick, it consumes. Every single second that passes, every heavy breath they take inside that cramped metal shell, their fragile biology is being actively erased. The crushing absence of gravity is quietly dissolving the calcium in their bones, flooding their bloodstream with their own deteriorating skeleton. The invisible storm of cosmic radiation is systematically slicing through their deepest genetic code. We are not just watching a historic spaceflight. We are witnessing a real-time transmission of biological decay. They are trapped in a flying metal tomb, desperately fighting an unwinnable war against the absolute zero of the void. And the cosmic clock is ticking louder with every single beat of their vulnerable hearts. Down on Earth, we celebrate the raw violence of human engineering. We worship the Space Launch System as a metallic god, 8.8 million pounds of raw, explosive thrust. We proudly point to the resurrected RS-25 engines as they tear through the lower atmosphere. The media calls it the ultimate triumph of modern technology, but do not let that roaring fire deceive you. That glorious display of dominance lasted for exactly 8 minutes. 8 minutes of blinding arrogance. And now, the monumental rocket, the pride of thousands of human engineers, is utterly dead. The massive boosters, the towering core stage, are now just thousands of tons of charred, empty metal. They have already become mechanical corpses, falling back into the ocean or tumbling blindly through the abyss as forgotten, rusting relics of the 21st century. And what about the 4 souls left behind? NASA proudly calls their current path a free return trajectory. It sounds so elegant, a brilliant mathematical strategy, a masterpiece of celestial navigation. But strip away the comforting science, and the physical reality is profoundly terrifying. This is not a display of human control. It is an act of absolute, desperate surrender. Out here, beyond the protective shield of our dying planet, we know that our machines are pitifully weak. We know that the microchips and the metal joints can easily be corrupted by a sudden, unseen blast of solar radiation. So, what do? We shut down the main engines. We surrender control. We blindly throw 4 human beings into the darkest ocean of the solar system, and we beg the universe to catch them. Their existence, right now, is tied to an invisible, merciless tether, a gravitational noose stretched 240,000 miles across the void. If the European service module fails, if a single propellant valve freezes, or the maneuvering thrusters choke, there is no rescue vehicle. There is no steering wheel to turn. They are completely and utterly paralyzed. The Earth and the dead rock of the Moon are now the only executioners. The universe will simply pull that invisible string, violently whipping them around the lunar far side. If European mathematics miscalculated by just a fraction of a degree, or if that gravitational tether snaps, Orion will not be a spacecraft anymore. It will slingshot past the moon and hurl straight into the infinite dark, forever drifting as a silent, spinning metal tomb, perfectly preserving the fading ghosts of our dying ambition.
We celebrate that the Orion spacecraft provides 330 cubic feet of living space. We call it a massive upgrade. A comfortable, modern habitat, complete with a simple cable device that we playfully call a rowing machine. But do not let this domestic illusion comfort you. This capsule is not a home. It is a suffocating, sealed biological laboratory, actively measuring exactly how fast our species rots in the deep depths. Right now, as they hover 10,000 kilometers above the scarred surface of the moon, they are completely stripped of Earth's magnetic armor. The universe is silently and methodically tearing them apart from the inside out. In the crushing reality of zero gravity, the human body realizes it no longer needs its own physical structure. It immediately begins a terrifying process of self-cannibalization. Their muscles are rapidly shrinking, withering away into the dark. Their bones are literally dissolving, melting their own calcium directly into their bloodstream. The fluids inside their bodies are shifting upward, swelling their brains and blurring their vision. That 30-pound metal cable, the flywheel, is not a piece of exercise equipment. It is a pathetic, desperate tool of resistance. Every single day, they must violently pull and push against it, fighting an exhausting, agonizing war just to stop their own bodies from completely digesting their flesh. And while they sweat and struggle, invisible cosmic subatomic particles are slicing through the metal hull, systematically shredding the delicate strands of their DNA. They are literally sacrificing their biological future to harvest survival data for a dying world. And yet, we try to mask this physical horror with a blinding digital facade. The architects of this mission boast about their payload of modern technology. They proudly announce that Artemis II is equipped with professional-grade lenses, personal smartphones, and a revolutionary infrared laser communication system. We are told they will beam 100 gigabytes of high-resolution beauty straight back to our fragile blue planet. We cling to the belief that this invisible web of data makes them safe. We believe that our brilliant digital strings have finally conquered the ancient dark. But the cosmos is an absolute master of tragedy. It loves to set a beautiful trap only to snap it shut. Because as this fragile metal eggshell reaches the climax of its journey, swinging into the deepest shadow of the lunar far side, the ultimate cosmic executioner will step in. A massive dead rock, over 2,000 miles thick, will physically slide between the integrity capsule and the Earth, and in a fraction of a second, all of our triumphant technological arrogance will be violently choked. The high-speed lasers, those brilliant threads of light, will smash helplessly against the cold lunar dust. The radio signals will be completely severed. The invisible digital lifeline connecting 4 beating hearts to a planet of 8 billion people will simply cease to exist. For 40 agonizing minutes, they will plunge into the ultimate blind spot, a realm of absolute, suffocating silence where no human cry can ever be heard. In that terrifying shadow, the billions of dollars of glass, wire, and microchips become absolutely worthless. The crew will instantly transform from triumphant explorers into isolated digital ghosts, completely blind, entirely deaf, severed from every memory, every voice, and every fading piece of human history. They will be trapped in the exact same irreducible isolation that the ghosts of Apollo endured half a century ago. For 40 minutes, they will look out of a tiny quartz window and stare directly into an ancient, untouched abyss, a desolate wasteland of shattered craters that does not care about their high-resolution cameras, their digital data, or their desperate, exhausting struggle to exist. They will realize the horrifying truth that our greatest technological masterpieces are nothing but fragile toys, and in the face of the eternal, unmoving universe, we are profoundly and hopelessly alone.
We watch them now, trapped in their fragile capsule, desperate to return home. But do not bind your mind to this single fleeting moment. Let us look beyond the present. Let us turn the dial and violently accelerate the cosmic clock. Fast forward 10,000 years. The engineers who built Orion, the crowds who watched the blinding launch, are nothing but forgotten dust. The Earth itself is slowly withering. But out there, in the freezing dark of a heliocentric orbit, a heavy shadow remains. The upper stage of the Space Launch System, the exact piece of metal Commander Glover used as a mock docking target, is not coming home. It has been exiled. Snatched by the gravitational pull of the sun, it is now a wandering, rusting relic of the 21st century. Imagine it, a dead, hollow cylinder of aluminum. The crisp black and white painted targets completely bleached by relentless ultraviolet radiation. It is a silent, tumbling monument to a desperate age, wandering aimlessly between the planets as a cold, metallic ghost. But let us push the clock even further. Do not stop at thousands. Fast forward 5 billion years into the abyss of time. The sun, the very star that powered Orion's fragile wings, has exhausted its fuel. It swells into a monstrous, terrifying red giant. The oceans of Earth boil away into toxic mist. The continents melt into glass. Our entire world, every city, every memory, every bone of our civilization is completely incinerated, swallowed whole by a dying star. Even the moon and the ruins of our space stations are pulverized into scattered ash. The physical erasure of humanity is absolute. And yet, in the ultimate, terrifying silence of the deep universe, one fragile thing survives: the data. The radio waves and the high-speed infrared lasers beamed from the Integrity capsule back in April 2026. Unlike our fragile flesh, electromagnetic radiation does not decay. It simply expands, piercing through the fabric of space at the speed of light. Long after our solar system is reduced to a smoldering graveyard, those invisible ripples of energy will still be moving. The telemetry of their eroding life support, the digital photos of the lunar craters, the exact sound of their breathing, and the distorted, fading echoes of a human voice. They are moving past the frozen corpse of Jupiter, bursting through the Oort cloud and bleeding into the interstellar void. These 4 astronauts will become immortal, but not as conquerors. They will live on as digital ghosts, wandering through the darkest corners of the Milky Way, washing over distant nebulas and brushing against dead alien stars. They are the ultimate time capsule of a completely extinct species, flying forever into the eternal nothingness, an endless silent scream from a fading cosmos, begging for someone, anyone, to know that we once existed.
Artemis II is not happening right now to plant a new flag in the lunar dust. It is not about building a triumphant outpost for a glowing, permanent future. It is something much darker and profoundly more beautiful. What we are witnessing is future archaeology. We are desperately carving our own relics, building our own monuments before the ruthless clock of the universe buries us completely. Look at them, Despite the patched-up, resurrected technology, despite the terrifying fragility of their dissolving bones and mutating cells, these 4 human beings represent the ultimate, tragic resistance of our kind. They are willingly carrying the heaviest burden of a fading legacy. They are offering their vulnerable flesh to the relentless void, just to record the dying pulse of human existence. When that charred, violently scarred capsule finally slams into the Pacific Ocean, do not look at them as conquerors who tamed the lethal forces of space. The cosmos cannot be tamed. The universe will never be our home. Instead, look at them as the final firekeepers, the devoted archivists of a fading world. They went into the darkest shadows to write the final will and testament of our biological history. They went out there to leave one defiant message in the cold museum of the stars, to prove that before the inevitable countdown reached absolute zero, before the great eternal silence finally washed over our tiny, fragile blue dot, humanity made a choice. We did not quietly surrender to the dark. We chose to look straight into the abyss. And for one fleeting moment in the terrifying scale of cosmic time, we forced the universe to look back.